Greetings everyone, this is Castantino. So today's review will be, I want to talk about the He-Man show. And I admit, this was a show I believe I said I was more excited for than the Revelations. Mainly because, much like the early 2000s, it had absolutely nothing to do with the one I grew up with in the 80s. This is a He-Man and the Masters of the Universe 2021 in CGI. Not going to get into too many spoilers as far as the plot goes, but it had some things I really liked in it, and we'll talk about that. And as you can see, I have the Mattel released the dual pack of Skeletor and Cronus, who would become Trapjaw, and of course our Skeletor. And here's the detachable head for Skeletor. Third Spider-Man movie in the Raimi trilogy. Third movie in the Dark Knight trilogy. Anyway, so I want to talk about the CGI. Now, I've already heard that there are people out there that are like, say they're super He-Man fans, and they're about my age, and their big complaint about this show is, this isn't my He-Man, this isn't my He-Man. It's like, dudes, just chill. This is the thing I liked. This is one of the reasons I really, before watching it, I was like, I'm going to watch this thing, because they didn't attack the fans. They didn't lie about what this show is at all, let me tell you. The show is something that's is targeting younger audiences. Some of the characters have been changed. For example, instead of Ram Man, there's now Ram Mam, who is a, I want to say it's a girl a girl or a young woman from, because I think it's the typical teenage age thing here, but hey, at least it's done fine. But it's a girl from a tribe that found Adam, who was kidnapped by Skeletor when he tried to enter Castle Grayskull. Okay, I spoiled that. Anyway, so so it's a completely different character. Not the she's not the loyal dummy that Ram Man is. I shouldn't even call him dummy. He's another character I would point to more recently. I would say would be Bulkhead from Transformers Prime. He's like really he's muscular, but he's not. He's kind of the tank, but he's not really loyal. But no, this isn't her. Because she's loyal. She's not loyal to her friends per se. She's more loyal. She's like if it's between her tribe and her friends, she's gonna go with her tribe, which eventually she ends up realizing that helping her friends will help her tribe. But again, that's getting to spoilers. Teela. This Teela is not the one who is raised by Man-at-Arms. In fact, the Man-at-Arms Duncan in this show is actually a protege of Trapjaw, who ends up leaving that little thing. But Teela is a sorceress from the start. She doesn't know about her past. It's like she's Teela, but she's Teela if Teela embraced her magical abilities. Fine, whatever. Who else is there? Duncan. Not really much to say. He's not. I might make another video because I have some things I'd like to say about the Man-at-Arms in the early 2000s He-Man. I'm not. Ugh. But yeah, he's. I mean, he knows his mechanics and all that. And He-Man, they Prince Adam. Prince Adam, for number one, they're actually based out of Castle Grayskull, which I know growing up, I never got why they weren't based in Castle Grayskull if they got protected. In the 80s show. But yeah, so the other thing that I love about this show, and this is more of because of the design, is that He-Man, when he turns into He-Man, he looks like Johnny Bravo. I'll have some pictures, see if I can find a picture of He-Man from the show, just to put it side by side. But it is like, you could trade their heads, and the only difference would be like the shades in their hair. So, I love that. I made a comment that if He-Man did the monkey in this, which he's not going to do, because and the other thing is, I do like that they aren't. I get why Adam keeps it secret that he's He-Man in like the early 2000s and the 80s shows, but I'm kind of glad they went with a different route where everybody knows he's He-Man. Skeletor knows he's He-Man. Which, oh my God, let's get into Skeletor and the Dark Masters. Of course, you got Evil Lyn, who's basically. Evil Lyn and Skeletor are probably the closest ones to their original versions. The only difference being is in the Evil Lyn design. In this show, she's got like bat wings on her helmet and stuff. And Skeletor is interesting. They went with. Let me talk about the other ones. They don't actually. None of the characters actually look like Trapjaw. He does not look. He's basically this big, bulky guy with a green face and everything. When he breaks his jaw and then he gets the jaw, that's where he gets the moniker Trapjaw. But Skeletor gives them enchants these weapons with the power of havoc, which I freaking love that. Like, he can enchants these things with the power of havoc, and they basically can do the whole I have the power thing, and they turn into full out Evil Lyn, or I can't remember what his name is, but Beastman actually like becomes this big red furred beast. Trapjaw turns into actually looking like Trapjaw, but his mouth looks like the freaking Sarlacc pit. It's freaking awesome, and I love this take. Skeletor's the only exception on this as far as the turning into it, because he flat out embraces it after he's after he was trying to. This Skeletor is like, you know what? F the power of Grayskull. I got this, because that's how he happened to get it. He picked the weapon of a tyrant, which was the Havoc Staff. Which, like I said, this is awesome. This came with the Keldor thing, and after seeing the show, I actually got this after the show, and seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, I have to have this, because the power, what's in the show, basically, Havoc is this is a power, obviously, that Skeletor can use to create his dark masters, and it kind of acts like a plague where he can spread it around and it will just cause havoc. It just destroys everything. It's such an awesome concept. And when he was making the enchanting the weapons, it was just constantly releasing havoc into the world. I just really like that, the way they went about that. So I mean, like I said, the show's only got like a 6, but it deserves to be. I think most of the stupid Metacritics and Rotten Tomatoes and all that bullshit, the show's like middling. I think it deserves a little bit higher, maybe not an 8, but definitely like somewhere in between that and a 7. Maybe it does deserve an 8. It just depends on how you look at it. I'm looking at it as it's nothing like the first one. They didn't come out and say, oh yeah, this is going to be the first one, and then completely wreck the characters simply because of the 25% different bullshit. Thank you, fucking JJ, for that happening, making that a normalcy. Although I do understand why Mattel went that route. But they took everything into a different direction, and I liked it. I really enjoyed it. The Skeletor's Havoc. I was, for a while there, because his staff looked like a giant mace, I was like, this is stupid. And then all of a sudden he just transforms into the more like the Havoc staff we all know and love. I'm like, so I love that concept. Skeletor in this thing now, before he embraced the power of Havoc, he had like the forearm of his left hand and forearm were completely burnt off to turn into a complete skeleton, nothing but bones. And then when he he said, screw it, and then he just embraced it. That's where he got the skull face and everything else. I'll tell you what, if I see that, if I go to the store and see that, I might actually buy that, because that's just how much I like that version of Skeletor. I really like this thing. Don't get me wrong, I still love the classics here. Even the classics that weren't really classics. Although, hey, if you bring back the early 2000s ones, I might buy those too. That Skeletor, I love that Skeletor's design too. But, yeah. So, other than that, it's just a fun show. I would suggest it to anyone. I would suggest it to fans. Just do not expect there was this thing they renamed Ram Man because it's a girl from a tribe. That character, it's not Ram Man. It's not, and it's not just because they gender swapped the character. No, it is not Ram Man. This is not the loyal lunk. This girl actually, she's smarter than Ram Man. I'll say it that way. It's never explained why Ram Man wears this helmet or likes to just bash his head off stuff, but this show kind of explains that. Explains why she wears the helmet. It doesn't really, in my opinion, I have to watch it again, explain why she likes to headbutt everything. Whatever. Different strokes for different folks. But, yeah, just don't go into it thinking, this isn't the same Masters of the Universe. This has nothing to do with those two aforementioned shows. It has no connection to it, which everything, stuff like that, I'm fine. So, yeah, I would suggest giving it at least a shot. Just don't expect too much nostalgia. And yeah, if you want, it's a good. I would say it's a good introduction to it, to the characters. And then if you want, you can, hey, you know, I used to have these, and then you can maybe even show them the early 2000s or even the 80s, if you have kids, you know. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll hope to see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.